Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are we doing today?
Good, how are you?
All right. Today we're here to discuss my name is Bracety, and this is Anupa, Smit, and we are here to discuss how our stories got into the public eye and how they affected our illness and helped us cope with the illness that we have. Anupa and I were both featured in the Outlook magazine this past year, and I know for me, I've been asked by TMA to come back and share my story. I've recently had a book published as well, and it explains everything I went through with my disease and how it affected my friends, my family, and so I'm here to share a little bit about that. And then Anupa's going to discuss how her article affected her and all that. So I'll start. My name is Dennis Bracety. I'm 40 years old. I'm a full-time firefighter. I got diagnosed with DM in 2011 at age 35. Just like you guys, I looked at it as a death sentence. You know, I was very upset. A lot of thoughts went through my mind: how am I going to survive? Am I going to be a firefighter again? Can I walk my daughter down the aisle someday? I asked myself all those questions. And it was a long journey for me. It took me about 3 years through medications and treatments for them to figure out what works for me. I'm currently taking IVIG and methotrexate and prednisone as well. But I think it's more to it than just the medication side of things and the hospital stuff, as I call it. It's a desire, a will to live, that the reason why I'm in full remission to this day. You have to want to get better. You have to want to survive. You have to want to not want to be in a wheelchair anymore. I was in a wheelchair for a year. I lost the ability to swallow for a year as well, so I had a feeding tube as well. I lost 90 pounds very early on, within weeks of diagnosis. I had aspiration pneumonia, hypothyroidism as well. And so everything had to be at once. I was in the best shape of my life before I got diagnosed. I was very active in sports. I was a pretty good sized weightlifter as well. And so when I got diagnosed, everything within 2 months went away. It just all my abilities to function went away. I was in ICU for 2 months, and I just thought this was it. And I felt sorry for myself. I was suffering from big time depression. I wouldn't want to go out in public. I would watch my firefighters come to my house and try to cheer me up and boost my energy and boost my confidence. I just wasn't having it. I just wanted to be left alone and hide away from the world. And then 7 months later, I realized, you know what? This is not going to work for me anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to feel sorry for myself anymore. I want to get my life back. I want to get back to normal again, what I call it, to find my new normal and have that come back to me. So I put all my self-pity parties aside, and I started growing confidence. I started with very small workouts, whether it be a pool therapy or just walking across the street and back. I started with very small stuff just to build up my muscles. And as I started seeing results, I gained more confidence every single day. And that was key for me, because I got my drive back, and with the support of my support system, would not allow me to fail. I wanted to quit a bunch of times, I'm not going to lie, but they would not let me. And I had 2 kids that I had to take care of, and I had, my family. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let myself down. I was always a competitive person, so I would compete with myself to survive, and I got that from my sports background. It was one of those things that you stay motivated, and you stay positive. We're all sick. I get that. We all have our illness and everything, but it depends how you look at it to make you want to survive or just to settle. I was never one to settle. Whether I'm taking an extra fire class to be a better firefighter, or a new workout program, or a new diet, I'm always trying to find new ways to improve myself. And so, as as the years went by, I started thinking about what can I do to give back. Obviously, everybody had this for a reason. I'm not going to ask myself that what if question anymore. But now, what can I do to help others and give back to society besides being a firefighter? Yeah, I was a firefighter for 14 years, and I've given back a lot. But I want to give back more because when I got sick, there was no place for me to go. In 2011, there was not a lot of information on the internet. Trust me, we looked a lot. We couldn't find much at all. And the things we did find were all the sad stories of people dying or people being in wheelchairs for the rest of their lives. And I didn't want to see that anymore. I wanted to give back and show people that there's other ways. Just because you're affected with a disease doesn't mean you have it. Just doesn't mean that the disease has you. It has control of your mind. It doesn't. It's a mind game, I call it. So I wrote a book about my experience. So the book's about the 3-year journey of me first being diagnosed because I had to be put on light duty or office work as they call it as a firefighter for 3 years. So during that 3 years I started writing my thoughts down. I started writing some ways to inspire others to not feel the same way I did and to give people with DM a new outlook on life and to let them know that there is other ways that we can handle this disease without feeling sorry for yourself. So that's part. So part of the book is about the disease, as you guys all know. I'm not telling you guys anything brand new here. You guys all know a lot more about the disease than I do, I'm sure. But I'm here to serve as a reminder to this is what happens when you don't give up. And when you persevere, you find an inner strength, and you find the courage to go on, you could be a firefighter again. And that's what happened with me. And I got lucky a lot. I'm not saying that I didn't get lucky. Some doctors call me a miracle kid, whatever you want to call it. But I didn't let those same doctors who doubted me get into my mind and convince me that I couldn't do it. I had doctors tell me that I would never be able to climb stairs again. And I had doctors tell me that I should never be a firefighter again. But they didn't know me as well as I did. And along this journey, this past 6 years journey I've been on, I found a lot of inner strength I never knew I had. But I think every one of us has that strength in us. You just gotta find it. You gotta pull it out of yourselves. And you never know how strong you can be until you have no choice. And so, with that being said, half the book is about that journey that I was on. The other half of the book is about how my family support, my friends, the firefighter support, how they inspired me and helped me get to where I am today. It discusses about what happened to my family, what happened to my friends, how my kids were affected by the disease, what they went through, how my wife was affected by the disease, what she went through as well, and everybody else in my inner support system. So that's why I'm here today, to share my story with you guys, answer any questions you guys may have about my recovery process or just what we went through, and then because we both got our stories in the public eye. And my reason for that is just to help others. There was a kid, I'll give a quick story. Facebook is awesome. Social media is awesome. Because I have people contact me from all over the world, from Philippines to Belgium to Canada, everywhere. People are contacting me through Facebook saying, hey, I heard your story through a TMA magazine. It's pretty amazing. They were asking questions. I had a female in Chicago, a mother in Chicago, whose son is 4 years old, who has juvenile DM. And her son always wanted to be a firefighter. And her son was told by every single doctor, oh, you'll never be a firefighter, son. You'll never be a firefighter ever. And so the mother said, then it's because of your story. Now I can tell my kid that, this guy in Tucson, Arizona is a firefighter. He's got DM, and he's still a firefighter to this day. Even though everybody told me he could not do it, he still figured out ways to be a firefighter. So if you want to do it, you can do it. And that gave me chills, and that's why I'm doing it, to inspire one person to not give up and to stay motivated and stay focused on what they want to do in their life. And they could definitely do it. And it wasn't easy. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it was a piece of cake for me. I had a lot of help. Medications helped me out, obviously, and my workout programs helped me. But if you put the work in, you could definitely do it. And I'm living proof of it. It's my book is called Fire Within, and it's subtitled A Memoir of Firefighter's Will to Live. And I hired a co-writer to help me out with the books. I didn't know anything about writing books. I'm just a dumb firefighter, right? And so I didn't know anything about writing it, but everybody around me said, you gotta write your thoughts down. It was very cathartic for me to talk to somebody. The way I feel, I'd rather pay a co-writer to help me write the book than a therapist for the same information. It was huge for my psyche. It was huge for me to come to peace with my disease. Because I was very angry for a very long time. I felt that I lost a lot with this disease, but I also gained a lot as well. And so writing the book was huge for me and instrumental in my therapy process and to try to get me over that hump to live my life again and do the things I want to do. And so that's basically my story. I'm not sure if you yes?
Did you experience symptoms right away and then you got really sick? Is that?
I did. So, see, in December of 2010, I didn't feel right. And I just passed my annual physical with the fire department in October that same year. But I knew something was off. I felt sluggish. I wasn't really weak. I just didn't feel I was out of sorts. And hypothyroidism runs my family. My mom, my aunt have it. So I figured, okay, maybe I have a thyroid issue. I went to the doctor. They checked my thyroid. No, your thyroid's fine. So I'm all right, well, maybe I have the flu or something. So when I was at work, I remember myself being so tired all the time that all I wanted was sleep. And I kept working out because we're required to work out as much as we have to. And so, but you know how you guys work out, you get sore for a day or two. With this type of workout, I was sore for 4 weeks. And so I remember myself being so sore on Christmas Eve at work. I had ice bags on my arms. My arms felt like they weighed 100 pounds each, and they were burning. And so I went to the ER the day after Christmas. And that's what nobody knows. I mean, you guys know, nobody knows this disease. No ER doctor in Tucson knows this disease. And so everybody speculated, oh, you have this, you have that, try this, try that. And we never got a confirmed diagnosis until February of next year with the muscle biopsy. And so my signs and symptoms were, that's when my arm started to swell up. I had the Popeye forearms, I guess I call them, and the burning sensations. And my rash started coming to me after we got the diagnosis. Actually, the day of the diagnosis, I had a rash on my hands. And then my neurologist was like, yep, that's what he has. You have a rash on your hands, and then confirmed it with the muscle biopsy.
And then you got really sick.
And then I got really sick fast. So he put me on prednisone right away. And for some reason, prednisone did not blow me up at all. It took off 90 pounds. It was weird. Yeah, it was really weird. And so that was mind-boggling for my neurologist. He had no idea why that happened. So all that stress in my heart, it's amazing that I was still able to survive that. Because I lost 90 pounds in 3 weeks.
And is that why you were in the ICU?
That was why I was in the ICU. So I went from 220 pounds up to 240. I swelled up fast, and then I lost the 90 pounds right after that. And I looked really, really sick. And so the ICU was in for 2 months, yeah. So I lost my ability to swallow a month into the ICU. At first they put a nasal tube down my nose. And so it's only temporary, it'll be fine next week to swallow. I went, okay. And it wasn't. So they put the abdominal feed tube in. I had it there for a year. And so it's really upset me. Because I love to eat. Yeah. And unfortunately, I allowed that. I was such a great depression at that time that I allowed that 9-inch tube to define who I was. And obviously, not a lot of people could see the tube, but I knew it was there. So that's what killed my self-esteem. It killed my motivation. It killed. I was so embarrassed by that little tube that it just killed me.
Are you working full-time?
I'm working full-time. I went back to the fire department June 2013, and I passed all the physical tests. And I'll be the first to admit I wasn't 100%, but I was well enough that I would not put myself or my guys in danger. I feel 100% as of this year, 2016. I feel, I accredited that to IVIG. I was able to actually play baseball in the men's baseball league in Tucson in 2015, and that shocked the world right there. But then I still felt sluggish at times, but this year is my best year I've had.
How long have you been on IVIG?
On and off since I got diagnosed in 2011. Yeah, I was on it early on in the hospital quite a bit, and then 2014 I wasn't on it at all, and then I got back on it 2015. So I'm not sure if anybody here is also aspiring to write a book or write down their thoughts in a journal, but I definitely suggest it because it did wonders for me. It really you know, it brought to light what's really important. Before I got sick, I took life for granted. I felt I was invincible, I could do anything I wanted to do, and obviously this was a wake-up call. And much like Anupa here, I have a twin brother as well. And so we thought, obviously he went through a lot of testings, and there's no reason why I got it. Everything happens for a reason, so I figure I got this disease, I might as well make the best of it and try to help others and let them know what to expect if they try this medication or they try this treatment, or let them know that, hey, it's not going to be a death sentence. If you put the right effort in, the time and work into it, you should be coming out okay. And I realize everybody's body is different than mine is, and maybe I did get lucky, but it's good to hear good stories too. Because there's so many negative stories out there about DM and PM and IPM. It's good to hear a good positive story every once in a while, especially after everything I went through. Yes?
Are you on medication still now?
Yes, yeah. When I started, I was taking 140 milligrams of prednisone every single day when I first got diagnosed. I was doing that for about 3 or 4 months. Now today, this morning, I took my tablet for 12.5. So I'm taking 12.5 every single day. Started that 2 weeks ago. So the goal is to wean me off, obviously. And my roomie says that if I get you below 10, that'd be great. 5 would be ideal, but I still do IVIG. I have a treatment on Tuesday, just next week. But now I'm doing that every 3 months instead of every month. So the goal is to wean me off. Maybe do that every 6 months or so. But I know IVIG doesn't work for everybody. It worked for me. And I believe it was another contributing factor that saved my life. But I definitely suggest it if you haven't tried it. And I take methotrexate as well.
Did you ever go through rituximab?
No. They offered that when I first got sick. I was first in ICU, and that scared the crap out of us, but we didn't try it. It's just the fear of the unknown is the biggest fear you could have. And so we didn't know a lot. And now, like I said, I was a lab rat for 3 years. Because my neurologist said, oh, this worked on this 9-year-old girl last week, try this. Or this worked on this 55-year-old female last week, try this. Well, no. So for 3 years, it was touch and go. And that's what scared us a lot. We really didn't know. But over those 3 years, the first 3 years, I started feeling better, and they say you have to manage the stress. And being a firefighter, that's not really easy to manage stress. So I tried to figure out ways to manage my stress and try to take things easy. And that was with the exercise programs, the workouts, that really managed my stress big time. So it's just the less intensity to start off worked for me. And then I increase it now. I work out 5 to 7 days a week. And I work out for an hour in the gym, and then I'll do cardio, and I'll do leg workouts at the station with the guys. And that, for me, not only helps with the stress, but it helps me stay strong. I'm not as strong as I used to be, I'll tell you that. I still can't do a push-up, but I can do basically everything else. I can play golf. I play golf twice a week, and I could play basketball if I want to, and I can do all that stuff like I used to be able to do. But I still can't do a push-up or a pull-up. I'm working to get there. I'm using that to motivate me. So.
Okay. I have, hopefully, can everyone hear me? Because I struggle with the microphone here. I was diagnosed with DM probably about 4 years ago. So at that time, I had 3 children, so I was working to lose some weight after having babies, and I noticed a significant weakness in my legs. I started to get a small rash on my face. I thought maybe it was some sort of lotion or something, and then I kind of ignored it. Then my legs became significantly weaker, struggling with stairs, even just walking. I was just purely exhausted from anything. So I was just very tired all the time. The doctors that I saw at the time thought I had Lyme disease, then they thought I had lupus. So you go through all these diagnoses and doctors who are slightly inexperienced and pretty much guessing. So I was lucky to then see a great doctor at Hopkins who gave me the official diagnosis and has been treating me since then. And just like Dennis here, I think for me, I'm just a person who absolutely refuses to accept this and the devastating things that you see that some people have. I just absolutely will not accept that in my life. I have 3 children. I won't do it. So I need to be there. I need to be active with them. I have boys that are pretty wild and they're little and they're just boys. So I can't be sedentary, and I can't. I feel like I have to be a good example to my children. And I like to be active. I have a lot of fitness goals that I had set before I was diagnosed with DM, and it's really important to me to accomplish those goals. So at this point, I'm somebody who's just not going to slow down or let anyone tell me that I can't do something. When I was first diagnosed, I saw the doctor and I told her, I really want to lift weights. I have a goal of lifting weights, I want to do these things. She said, absolutely no more than 8 pounds. That's, you have to accept. And that devastated me. I just joined a really nice gym, and we were going, and I was so excited, and then all of a sudden somebody's going to tell me I can't do it anymore. So that motivated me a lot to just keep going. So I started really small, really low, really light weights, really basic things, and then slowly worked up to where I am now. And I feel that I'm in very, very fit. I know cardiac-wise, I'm in such good shape that I have trouble keeping my heart rate high at this point, because it's very hard to keep that up. But I've just refused to let anything change my outlook and the goals that I really want to accomplish. That all being said, this disease, I think, my story was originally published in a fitness magazine for my gym. They have a Enhanced magazine, which is published in our local town. I'm from Delaware, and Delaware's a really small town feel, so people read it. They actually do look at it, and I was completely terrified to share my story. A lot of people, when you have this disease, think that you're faking it, or they have, when I first say I have myositis, the response I get is, oh, that's lupus, right? That's lupus. And I'm like, no, it's not. Oh, you have Lyme's? Isn't that I get all these responses, and
You look so good.
Yeah, you look so good. That's the.
You're not sick, you look fine.
I get, and so
That's fibromyalgia, that's not real.
It's not real, it's mental. Maybe you need to just sleep more. Maybe you just need to slow down. Why do you work out so much? And I'm like, working out for me is just as important as the IVIG I receive. If I don't work out for 3 days, I struggle with stairs. If I don't work out for a week, even combing my hair is difficult. So these are things that if I don't go exercise, I'm faced with not being able to carry out my day. I need to take care of my family. I have things that I really want to do. So it's just not going to happen. So I've been just really motivated to keep going. So I started really low, and now I can, one of my goals was to do one of these Spartan races, which I've now signed up for in October. I have no idea how fast I'm going to finish it, but I'm going to get through, even if it takes me 8 hours. That's what I'm going to do. So those are the goals that I have, and I think it's important to set goals and accomplish those goals, and don't think that they're impossible. Now, this disease, I was saying that it's very isolating. No one has it, no one knows about it, so when you talk about it, you almost feel like you're telling some fairy tale after a while. So it's just, and there's a lot of negativity out there, so I've kind of shied away from the support groups and things like this. I was actually really terrified to come here because I try to really stay away from negativity, and I think in this myositis community, I don't mean this directed to anyone, but I think there's a lot of focus on the negative, and there's not a lot of focus on actually what you can do. So my goal today is to share my story and hopefully make people aware of that you can actually accomplish things and you can be active. It's absolutely not impossible, even if medical people tell you that. I think there's not enough research out there to justify one way or another. So maybe you can't run a marathon, but maybe you can walk up the 2 flights of stairs. No one's saying not to, so these are just basic things that I want to get out there. when my article was first put in my fitness, in the gym publication, I was really nervous because most of the people at my gym are insanely fit. So, and it's a small community, people talk a lot. So I was just really worried about people knowing about my private life. People tend to gossip and things like that. So I was a little bit worried about, you know, how is it going to be perceived, especially since there is no knowledge of this disease out there. Everyone knows about cancers. Breast Cancer Coalition is like humongous. You could say myositis, the TMA, and really not a lot of people know about it. So they're like, what is this? So I think it's important to share your story just for the awareness purposes, just to let people know that it's completely real, but also focus on the positive side and that you can you know, set your goals and accomplish them. For me, I'm also a really private person, and my family's very, very private, so I got a lot of criticism from people for sharing my story, just to not say too much. People say, I work in the legal field, they say, don't put your personal information out there. So I still struggle with that. I think I do want to have some privacy, but I think it's really important to encourage one another. And I think in this community that is so small, we have to continue to do that, even if you are criticized a bit or misunderstood. Just kind of work towards figuring out where those misunderstandings are and hopefully get through those things. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be helpful. I just hope that you know, set those goals and accomplish them.
Well, my life's literally an open book now. So that's, and I'm okay with that, because I want to share my story. I didn't get any flack from my family. They encouraged me to do this, and they said, Dennis, this is going to help you. This is your therapy. Just do it, and then just get it finished. And so this process of me writing my memoirs was 6 years in the making. I got it published this past October, and it was a big sigh of relief off my shoulder, because this is like my baby, you know, and I'm a perfectionist, and I'm also a very competitive person as well. So I wanted to make sure I did things right, I told the story the right way, that people who have DM could relate to it and don't think I was full of crap by saying stuff in the book. I want them to be able to read, oh yeah, that happened to me too, or I could relate to that. So I made sure I did my research and my homework on that, and not only tell my story, but tell other people's stories as well. I'm not sure you guys know a guy named Ricky Bell. He was a football player who passed away in 1984 from the complications of DM. I've referenced him in the book for a bunch of reasons, but one main reason was this is a guy who had everything. He was drafted high in the NFL draft. He almost won Heisman at the University of Southern California. And so I put him in there to show, I guess, the quote-unquote normal people, I guess, the non-healthier people, that it can happen to anybody. And this disease does not discriminate. It doesn't care who you are, what sex you are, what color you are. It's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I believe everything happens for a reason. And so we need more awareness on this very rare autoimmune disease. We need to bring it to light and get people talking about it. And much like Anupa here, like I said, we're both in the Outlook magazine. She did the magazine with her gym.
I'm not sure what you said there.
That's Siri.
I was also featured in the MDA national newsletter as well, magazine this past year, and I was on a local TV show back home in Tucson. That's only seen by 2 people probably, but it was something. And the more we talk about it, the more we get the word out there that it could happen to anybody. That's the key right there. And because it happened, doesn't mean life's over. You just gotta keep on fighting and never give up. My fire chief said, hey, you'll never be a firefighter again. I'm like, Chief, I'm gonna prove you wrong. 3 years later, I came back. All right, we got stuff. I believe everybody but myself thought I was gonna die, including 150 firefighters, my mom, I'm sure my kids. I'm sure that everybody thought I was gonna die, but I did not want to. So yes, he was completely shocked. And not shocked that I came back, but the shocked to see how well I'm doing. He's like, Dennis, you look normal. Well, I may look normal, but I don't always feel normal. And that's the misconception that everybody gets, like we said. Oh, you look healthy, you're not sick, I don't believe you. Well, jump into my body for a little while, see what you think.
Anupa, how have you dealt with your children?
Yes. I think they're getting better. They're really young, so they don't always understand everything. So I try to explain things really simply to them. You know, I don't think there's any science to it. I'm a mom, and sometimes you just have to wing it. But things I worry about are I have infusions every 2 weeks, so they see me get stuck at needles. It's a struggle to get a needle vein for me at my line set up, so sometimes it takes up to 10 sticks each time. It's brutal. But I'm too active for a fort, which is why I refuse to do it. I won't be able to do my insane fitness routine if I have a fort in my so I refuse. I just sit there. But my kids, they don't really always understand it. They don't understand why I'm always so tired. So I try to really just communicate really well with them. So if I'm really tired, I don't try to hide it. I say, I didn't sleep at all last night, or, I think I really need my treatment soon. Or I just kind of explain it to them, saying that, I need these medicines to help me survive and to help me take care of them. I try to explain to them why I'm resting on the couch and why they shouldn't wake me up asking me random things. But part of me is wanting to, I think it's a struggle for me. I don't like to look sick in front of them, so I try to keep up and just keep going and modify the things I do, or just completely, you become really creative, not only as a mother, but even with this disease, as to how you do things. So while maybe one person does something really easy in one way, I might go in like 3 different paths around the bush and around the tree and come back, and that's maybe how I get it done. So I just show the kids that you don't have to take that straight edge path to reach your goals and to survive, really. So.
I think for my case, my son was 11 years old when I got diagnosed. My daughter was 16. And so they combined had to take care of me. My wife left when I got diagnosed, by the way. And so they had to be not only my kids, but my daughter had to be my wife, I guess. My son had to be my best friend and take care of me and help cook meals and everything. And because I couldn't do anything, I couldn't put my clothes on, I couldn't even touch my nose when I got diagnosed early on. And so kids are resilient, and I think for my son being at age 11, he knew that I was sick, and he just probably did not know how to express it, but he knew there was something wrong with Dad. And I think that he stepped up huge. Like I said, he was crushing my pills for me to put in my tube, and he was pureeing my food every night to try to get me to swallow. And he's actually here today, by the way. He's right here. So now maybe we could ask him how he went on the spot. He'll hate me for that, but I'm pretty sure that he went through his own hell as well. And just like my daughter, she went through her hell as well. And they latched on to me. They went into protection mode of their dad. They did not want to be around their mother for what happened, so they were with me for a good year after she left. And they were my biggest support system to this day. Yes.
I just want to say how that touches my heart, because I'm an only child, and my mother is worthless. She tells people I have mimosas instead of myositis. And I have an only child, and she couldn't tell you one thing about my disease.
Right.
So that just.
Yeah, he became my caregiver at age 11, and that's a lot to ask for a kid because he's trying to still play Little League,
It's amazing.
and it is actually amazing. Yes.
I met your son yesterday, and I just think you are superb. You're just kind with all of us that are kind of, we all have issues,
Right.
we're all hurting here and hurting there.
Right.
And you were just wonderful.
I was just wondering how long you were there, you were in the hospital for some time, how long were you out of work before you went back?
Full-time fire to fire, 3 years. But after a year and a half, they put me on light duty, which means I was doing office work. And they kept me on the payroll that way. So I was at risk of losing my job for obvious reasons. My chief's like, well, we don't know what to do with you. You can't be a firefighter. I'm like, well, why don't you give me some office work? I could do some stuff around the stations here. I could draw up some maps of some pre-plans or something like that, organize some CPR events, or I could work with our PIO for media relations stuff. I could do Toys for Tots, or you know, the Brewster, we have like women's Brewster House in Tucson, you know, women who are battered and stuff. So I did some work with them as well. And I taught a lot of CPR classes just to stay active. I delivered uniforms, you know, they gave me a job. I was cleared by my doctor to work 20 hours a week, and then he eventually cleared me to work a 40-hour-a-week job. And I just found things to do around the stations, around the offices, and I bugged the chiefs a lot. I really did. And then a year and a half later, I went to their medical doctor, and they put me through a rigorous training. I had to do something that's called a CPAT, a performance test, physical agility test. I had to climb stairs, and I had to put hose on my back and deploy ladders, stuff like that. And that kicked my butt. I was wiped out for a while after that, but I was able to pass it. And so I said, okay, we'll get you back then, but we won't have a spot for you for 4 more months because your spot's been taken. All right, I'm okay with that. So I was back in the office for 4 months after that until June 2013 came around. And they put me through another 2 weeks of hell 2 weeks actually, lots of drills, training, fire, behavior stuff. And then they got me to the station. So it wasn't easy. I didn't want to come back at 20%, because I was going to put myself in danger and my guys in danger. So I want to make sure I was well enough to still perform the job. I'm not doing a service to the public at being 20%. And so I made sure I was 100% to come back. Yes?
I was wondering if either of you stick to like a diet or a type of eating, like a plant anti-inflammatory or gluten-free or...
I think diet's been huge for me, changing the way I eat, and so the things I try to stick to really high protein, not necessarily, I eat a lot of chicken, fish, things like that. I stay away from glutens if I can, but I like to eat, so there are things that I just really enjoy, but if I want to feel good, I try to eat really clean, really high protein, low sugar. So my trainer told us no more than 6 grams of sugar a day. And that is very, very difficult. So it's possible to do that. I'm nowhere near that level. I was never able to cut all of that sugar out. But there are some people who I work out with who said it changed their life to get down to that level. So for me, changing my diet, eating a lot of vegetables, nuts, things like that, instead of, I like snacking and things. If you eat smaller meals, higher protein, you won't crave the bad things. So I would say give it 1 or 2 weeks and be really strict with yourself. And after that, it becomes a routine and very easy. You don't even want the other things. So I think that's really critical, though. If I eat poorly, I can feel it. Oh, I can feel it in my weakness. It's really bad. So I think it would be a good thing to do.
And for me, because I had a feeding tube for a whole year, I was hungry all the time. So when I got cleared to eat solids, I peaked out. I'm not gonna lie. I gained that 90 pounds I lost. I gained that back really, really quickly. I just love to eat. I'm not the healthiest eater in the world. I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm also not the worst eater in the world. And I need to get better on my diet, especially learning from learning seminars this weekend. That I really need to wake up a little bit and eat a little healthier and cut some things out. And I'll do that. So it will make me feel better in the end.
The other thing I was looking at with my diet was eating. There's something called the elimination diet, that really helped me. So it's, you eliminate all the inflammation triggers from your diet, and then you add them back in one by one to see which one triggers worse of inflammation, which one is worse than the others. So I did that, figured out that dairy and glutens are probably my most sensitive triggers. So I try to minimize, I don't eat any dairy unless it's really small. I just can't even tolerate it. Glutens, I love bread and things like that, but I try to minimize them. I don't go and buy all the gluten-free stuff out there because it doesn't taste good, but there's some things that do, but most of it's like cardboard. So I try to just find other alternatives to eating those glutens, and it's possible. One of the things I just recently did was, for example, is pasta. So I like pasta and sauce. You can take a zucchini and spiralize it, or whatever it's called, and it's actually very, very good. Same with spaghetti squash, things like that. If you just plan better, meal planning has been, in the past month, has changed my world also. You spend less money, and you plan out your meals, it's actually healthier. I've been able to lose some more weight, which I'm getting closer to my goal weight now. So.
One more question. Do you mind, I was wondering who your doctor is in Tucson. I live in Mesa.
Okay.
And I go to the Mayo Clinic there,
Okay.
but I'm not very happy there. So I was actually thinking of going down to U of A. I heard there's two ladies, lady neurologists that work down in Tucson and I don't know their names.
My doctor's name is Dr. Lawrence Stern. He works for the University Medical Center by the U of A campus.
Is he a neurologist?
He's a neurologist, yeah. He also used to be the head of the MDA in Tucson. So he goes to seminars all over the world to talk about different case studies and get feedback and everything. At first, I liked him, but I did not like him. I'm from New York. He's from New York also. So we got that on the same page there. But then at first I didn't think he was too interested in my case. When I was sharing my stories with him, and as far as my signs and symptoms, he was just like looking elsewhere and not really focusing on me, not really bothering me. And then turns out to this day that we became best friends. I can call him right now and he'll answer the phone. I have his personal cell phone number. He came to my house at Thanksgiving dinner one year. He is amazing. Every time I see him, we give each other hugs. He was on that TV show with me in Tucson. He said, Dennis, if you need me to come out and talk alongside with you for anything, I'm there. Just let me know. And he's the man. He definitely saved my life. And it's amazing. He's only 5'4", and so I tower him. And so I always make fun of that too.
So you don't see a rheumatologist at all?
I have a roomie also. I have a dermatologist as well. My rheumatologist, and I'm not sure if you guys agree with this or not, but I found that my rheumatologist is more aggressive in treatment, and my neurologist is more conservative. And I just saw my rheumatologist last week and my neurologist last week. And that's one thing I could say, that when I was in the hospital, doctors have their egos. And I was in the hospital, we had the ER docs weighing in, we had my neurologist weighing in, we had my PCP weighing in, and everybody took a back seat at Dr. Stern. And Dr. Stern would drive up from his hospital half an hour every single day, just come see me at 5:30 at night and weigh in and basically drive the bus. And every doctor around me just deferred to him because they knew that he was the man, and the egos, everybody put the egos aside, and it was amazing. And that they did it for the better of the patient. I'll never forget that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So that, yeah, sure. So the book process, like I said earlier, was very cathartic for me. And the way, I never wanted to be a writer when I was a kid. I always wanted to be a baseball player. So, and I'm just your typical dumb fireman. So this guy from Atlanta, he's my co-writer. And we had a firefighter benefit concert for me in May of 2011 when I got sick. Basically, it was a local bar in Tucson, downtown, everybody got together and raised some funds for medical bills. So that got a lot of media attention in the local area. I guess nationally too, because this guy who co-wrote the book with me is from Georgia. So he saw my story online and heard about it online. And he contacted me and he asked me, hey, you ever think I'll write a book? I said, you know, I thought about it, but I don't know where to start, and so blah, blah. So he said, hey, let me help you, you know, and then we'll get the story out. We'll get it told the right way, and so you're not upsetting anybody, or you keep your facts straight, but it's a good story for you to help others and inspire others. So I wanted to keep that book in the firefighter family. So the person who took all the pictures is the firefighter, and the person who designed the front and back cover is the firefighter as well, who works with me. So we want to keep it in the family. It is on Amazon, yes. It retails for $15. We have some books here at the conference. We sold about a dozen yesterday or so. We have a few left over if you guys are interested. But the main point, one of the main parts about that book is as far as the cover design. On the back of the cover, you'll see this the picture of stairs. And that's because every single doctor told me I would never be able to climb stairs again. I just want to prove them wrong. And so not only am I climbing stairs again, I'm running up and down towers every day. So that's why I got that in there. So I'm not sure if you guys are interested in writing your own memoirs or taking notes, but I highly recommend it. It really did wonders for me. I was always one of those macho guys and was always afraid to share his feelings with people and stuff. And this story, this book really opened up new doors for me and to get my story out there and to share some inspiration with others. Yes?
I've been thinking about writing memoir for a while, but I'm struggling with, you don't want it to sound like this happened, and then, I don't want to make it just sound like a downer.
Right.
I mean, it's got to have some sort of real story, so I'm kind of struggling with that a little bit.
Right. Well, this took about 3 years to write, and you're right. I didn't want to play the victim either. I didn't want to have people throw me pity parties. I threw enough for myself. I didn't want people to read the stories. Oh, he's just feeling sorry for himself. So I wanted to discuss what happens to caregivers. Caregiver burnout is very real. I never realized that until it happened to me. I wanted to discuss how it affected my children. And there's some good things in there also. The fact that I was able to return to a fire station and my kids were able to survive this and be okay in the end. And to show a lot of sense of brotherhood from other fire departments across the Southwest was a huge inspiration to others as well. How people all banded together to help our cause out. So yeah, there's some negative stuff in there, and there's a lot of positive stuff in there as well. And regardless if you feel it's negative or not, it's going to help you feel better in the end, and to show your story, share your story with other people, and to help you realize that, you know what, it may sound negative, but it may make me feel better, then I would definitely suggest you do it. It's not an easy process by any means, but it's definitely worth it in the end, emotionally and mentally.
I own a very small publishing company.
Okay.
And I self-published several of my own books in the
Nice.
business world. And I'm very eager to work with anybody that would like to
Yes.
buy a book and be published. I'd like to work on that.
Yes, my book has been published through Alpha Graphics, and as far as I call it the big company publisher, like the ones in New York, it's so hard. It's just less than 1% of people get their stories published by any Penguin or Random House or something like that. So if I was going to wait for them to come around, I'll still be waiting. I just want to get the story out there as quickly as possible to try to inspire.
Did you, I see that your daughter graduated from high school.
She did.
I see that you're standing there. I know that's got to be proud to do that because you being so sick.
She, about 2 months before graduation, I was still in a wheelchair. So my goal was to get to the graduation without a wheelchair. And she went through hell because when her senior year was supposed to be about her, unfortunately it was about her mother. And her mother was the topic of everybody's conversation. So I think she was slighted in that way. And that's another reason why I was very upset about what happened, because it should have been about my daughter. And so, but she's very tough. She's very stubborn like I am. And she was able to come out on top.
Did she go to college?
She went to a trade school. Now she's a medical assistant. She always wanted to be in, she always wanted to be a teacher actually, but because I got sick and she saw all the support that the hospitals and nurses and the doctors rallied around me, that changed her career to become a medical assistant and try to help others. And hopefully she'll be a nurse someday.
I was a fireman for 14 years and retired, so I know.
You know the brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the risks that you have to take.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no way, I mean, there's no way I could do it without them. Like I said, they were cutting my grass. They were hanging up Christmas trees. I mean, they were doing everything that I couldn't do. And they never asked anything in return, they just volunteered. And so we may not always get along in stations, but we definitely get along when we need each other, for sure.
Big family.
Big family, yes. Yeah. Any other questions out there?
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
No
you for
problem,
sharing.
thank you. Appreciate it.